Hi, this is Nicholas Bell with Ion Cinema, here to review Oxygen, directed by Alexandre Aja, his 9th film, starring Mélanie, Laurent, which will be released on Netflix May 12th, 2021. Set in the near future, Laurent plays a woman who suddenly wakes up unexpectedly in a medical pod that's... Her sleep has been interrupted because the oxygen levels have been affected and she only has 34% left, and the only thing she has to interact with is the artificial intelligence known as Milo, voiced by Mathieu Amalric, who basically says, technically you have 77 minutes left of oxygen, but at the rate you're going and how you're breathing and panicking, you have about 43. Luckily, she's able to make calls to the outside world. She gets a hold of some police, gets the runaround about a lot of things, and finally speaks with an older woman who kind of reveals a lot of significant things about where she is and who she is, because she also is having trouble remembering things. Frustratingly, Milo is not very forthcoming with the information he wants to give, and much like Siri, you have to ask things in a specific, very clear, particular way to get the answers that you need. So there is some mystery to the film. I would say there's kind of a lack of anxiety you'd expect, especially as it immediately calls to mind something like Buried, starring Ryan Reynolds and directed by Rodrigo Cortés. Eventually, as it reveals itself, I was thought of Duncan Jones' Source Code. Another Duncan Jones film you might think of is Moon from 2009 with Sam Rockwell. And of course, the interaction with the AI will inevitably draw comparisons to 2001: A Space Odyssey. But despite having this closed-in, claustrophobic feel, I think there's some very interesting visual aesthetic choices. They make Laurent, we get a lot of her close-ups of her face and the limbal rings of her eyes. But I was struck by kind of the religious iconography we get in some shots of her in this medical pod. It was scripted by Christie LeBlanc, her first time screenplay, lens by Maxime Alexandre, who shot the Maniac remake that Franck Khalfoun directed, but Aja wrote the script for, and Crawl, Aja's previous film, a creature feature before this. His usual team, Grégory Levasseur, serves as a producer, as does Vincent Maraval. Laurent, who's a director in her own right, does a fine job of carrying a lot of this on her shoulders. Malik Zidi shows up in a lot of flashbacks as her dead love interest, who of course you might recognize from Nicolas Boucry's film Made in France. Overall, I would give Oxygen 3 out of 5 stars. Thank you.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.